Hello lovely crafty friends, welcome back to the WOW Embossing Powder channel. I am Sasha and today we'll be taking a closer look at the brand new independent trio. Now this trio is super special because all the proceeds will be donated to the Ukraine humanitarian appeal to help the brave people of Ukraine. So please let's try our best to extend our kindness to those who need it. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the individual colors from the trio. Then over on the blog you can find this card with all the three colors. So we'll start off by looking at the amazing Blue Skies translucent powder. I'm just inking up a panel of 5x5 WOW embossing powder cardstock with my WOW embossing ink from the corner, and then I am going to add my Blue Skies embossing powder and grab a small tip brush just to make these dabbing like movements to remove some of the excess powder from the edges there. Well, it's not excess powder, some of the powder from the edges there, and you can't really go wrong with this, so please don't overthink it, just go with the flow of the water. So anyway, once I'm done that, I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss that and just look at that gorgeous, beautiful, glossy color. I will repeat the steps that I just did because I am a double embosser, okay? And double embossing will allow us to get this cool effect that we want. So I'll go ahead and add another layer of that beautiful powder and then dab off a bit less than I did the previous time, and then add some heat to that and just, oh my goodness, I'm so obsessed with the way translucent powders work. So because they're translucent, if we just focus some of the heat on the edge here, you'll see the powder starting to move and reveal a bit of the bottom layer. And tell me that doesn't look like a bit of wavy water. Even if it doesn't look like wavy water to you, I mean, that's still a cool effect, right? It looks like some kind of water. So anyway, once you're finished heat embossing that, just grab a brush and some water, clean water preferably, and just splatter some water onto the panel. And then I know you can see where I've splattered the water, but you don't need much water at all. We just want to get that effect of splashing water. And once you add your Blue Skies embossing powder, you're going to see that beautiful splatter pattern there, and you can just grab a dry brush and clean up some of your splatters, but don't remove too much of the natural pattern because you want to really make it look like natural splashy water, or at least that's what I wanted to do. So heat embossing with water does take a bit longer than it does with ink, so you need to heat up your tool on the highest heat setting, and then when it's nice and cold, turn it down to the lower heat setting, and you're going to heat your panel up from the bottom. And once you see those powders start to melt, you're going to come to the top. Now take your time with this and just go super slow because you really don't want to burn your paper since you've come this far. And when you are done, you're just going to see that majestic, oh my goodness, that is divine. Hallelujah. Sorry. Anyway, swiftly moving on, I'm going to go ahead and ink up and powder up a scrap piece of cardstock with the Mermaid tails embossing powder, and then I'm going to add some heat to that, and once that is nicely cooled down, I will pop it into my stamping platform and stamp it with this whale stamp, which I have inked up with the embossing ink, and just repeated that step about 3 times so that I get a nice layer of embossing ink. And then I'm going to add my Blue Skies powder to it and heat emboss it. Now layering embossing powders in this way is like a really quick and easy way to color if you're lazy like me, and you can just leave your die cut as it is, but I'm team extra, so I'm going to go ahead and take a coloring pencil and just shade a few areas of my whale just to give it a bit of little something. Okay, to finish this up, I will take my water panel and add some foam tape to it before sticking it to a 6x6 card base. Then I will stamp my sentiment at the bottom there and prop my whale up on some foam tape before sticking him down, and just pop a few of these water droplet gems to really emphasize that watery effect. And that is our finished card. I just really love this card, and that translucent blue skies is getting its moment to shine, isn't it? It's just so beautifully glossy and such a deep vibrant blue. I really love this powder. Okay, so now we're going to look at how to mimic ink blending with the bright and cheerful Wheatfields powder. I've already gone ahead and die cut my honeybee stamped sunflower layering dies, which I will cover with the Wheatfields powder before heat embossing them. Now this color is really beautiful, so we definitely need a second layer of it. So this time around we're going to heat emboss each die cut differently. For this first one here, we're just going to do a normal heat embossing, but for the second one we're going to go ahead and heat emboss it normally, and then we're just going to focus that heat tool over a petal like so, and then you'll start to see a really beautiful color change. Once you're done doing that to all the petals, you get this almost like ink blended effect on your layer, on your die cut layer. And then for the final die cut, we'll do the same as the second one, but this time we're just going to focus the heat on the tip of our petal instead of the whole petal. So we'll end up with 3 different layers for our sunflower, and they're just gorgeous. Just look at the effect that you can get just by adding extra heat here and there. To put together the flower, I'm going to add some foam tape between each of the layers, and then I will stick the petals up like so just to give it some dimension, and pop on a center there using some really strong liquid adhesive, because the gloss of the flower might make it slippery and hard to stick things on. And just look at that beauty. Isn't she just gorgeous? She's a 4 ink blended heat embossed glossy flower. Wow, what a beauty. So I could look at that all day, but we've got to finish this card, and to do that I've got a 5x7 panel and this cool rainbow stamp from Erin Lee Creative, which I'm just going to position like so on my panel, and then make sure my flower is right in the middle there. Then when I'm happy with that, I'll go ahead and stamp it with some black ink, and then take my flower again and position it in the middle and flip that rainbow over. And as you can see there, don't heat emboss on your stamping platform whilst your foam pad is in it, because it's going to do what mine did there. Just a little side note there. So once I'm done stamping, I'm going to glue my flower to the middle there in between my rainbows, and then add the leaves and some gold gems. I can't stop using these gold gems. I will try, but I can't promise. And then I'm also going to pop in some white flowers and a heat embossed sentiment there, and that finishes off our card. I really love this card, especially that 4 ink blended flower. Guys, just really experiment with your embossing powders. You never know what they're going to reveal. So for this card, we're going to enjoy some glitterific texture from the United Glitter powder. I've inked up a scrap panel of cards that I will cover with the United embossing powder and then heat emboss it. Now the glitter powders are opaque, so 1 layer is more than enough, and I'm just going to take this butterfly stamp from Pink Fresh Studios and ink it up with some embossing ink. Then I will stamp that onto my embossed panel there, just about 3 times to make sure I've got a good layer of ink before adding some metallic gold embossing powder. Once again, this is such a quick and easy way to add color to your die cuts or stamps without having to color. I'm going to fussy cut that image quickly so that we end up with a butterfly and a pair of wings, which I will layer up to make it look like my butterfly is in mid-flight. I'm using this pair of rectangles just to mark out an area for me to place my stencil. You can use your dies for this, but I just had these really nearby. So I'm going to take the WOW Embossing Twister stencil and just place it at an angle, then ink it up and flip it over to do the opposite side. I really do find that heat embossing a well inked up layer of glitter powder, it doesn't really have too much fallout, but just to be on the safe side, you can emboss from the bottom. So I'm sorry I lost some footage because my battery died, but I added the panel to a 3.5 by 8 inch card base, which is a slimline card, and then a few gold pearls just to emphasize that pattern. For the butterfly, I just stuck the top part of the main butterfly to the wings, and that will help our butterfly retain its dimension. Even when you pop it through the mail, it will still be nice and high and floaty. So I've just added some foam tape to that, and then I'm going to stick it to the middle there just to cover up those two circles, but to make sure that our butterfly has like this spreading out effect. I think that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So not only do we get texture on our beautiful butterfly, but also that beautiful contrast between the gold and the united powder. So don't forget there's this terrific gloss and texture filled card waiting for you right now over on the WOW Embossing blog. But more importantly, please do not forget to get yourself this trio from the WOW Embossing UK and USA stores, because Kerry is definitely sharing our resources. Also, please let us know in the comments below what you think of this trio. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel and that you like this video, and have a wild kind of day till next time.